Amen. How you guys doing today? Happy Labor Day weekend. Welcome you, those who are with me and those of you watching online. We are so excited that you have chosen to be with us today. We're so excited about so many different things. What a great time. I love this time of year, right? This time of year is so good. And I'm excited about this series we're into, Life on the Other Side of You. And so today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. Yeah, I got really quiet in here, huh? Because we love to be forgiven, but we often don't like to forgive. And so this has been an amazing series. We're talking about what it's like and what we can do. And like I said, I love this time of year because we get to enjoy so much. For example, y'all know I love me some football. Okay, yesterday was college football day. I was watching football like no other. My wife said, "Are you gonna get off the couch?" No, I'm not gonna get off the couch. I gotta watch it all. And I have a subscription service that allows me to watch, wait for it, 4 games at one time. And so I was just watching and watching and watching. So I love me some football. But I also love baseball because baseball is a lot of fun too, but not for the reason that you may think. You know, I like the home runs and the strikeouts, but something about the umpire. The umpires are something. I mean, like the way in the animation they get like, hurt, you know, that kind of thing. I just love what they do, except if you are in the batter's box. You know, it's kind of like, why you got to yell so loud when you're having a strike? Why you got to yell and make sure the whole stadium hears? There's something about that when you're the recipient of being rung up, it's different. But what I want to talk to you about is something that the umpire owns, what they have in their hands. See, they have this thing called a clicker, and it's kind of fun because what it does, this little clicker, just like this, it keeps track of strikes and outs. It keeps track of how many strikes are in the count. It keeps track of all the outs that are going on in an inning. And I bring this to your attention, church family, because we often are like the umpire. We keep track of things done wrong to us. You know, we keep score too, right? Everyone who said something mean to us, everyone who looked at us a certain way, we keep track, don't we? So when it comes to forgiveness, we have a hard time because we keep track of all those things. That person has 9 outs. They have 15, it's a 15th inning, and they've done nothing wrong. I'm keeping track of it. So we're going to talk about forgiveness. And I know we're excited. You're welcome. Because it's so important because we think about what we are and what we're called to do. We are called to forgive. So my first question for you is, how do you respond when it comes to in the area of forgiving? I want to be vulnerable with you for a moment. I want to go way back. So come with me to 5th grade. 5th grade, long time, a long time ago. Some of you don't have to go that far, but 5th grade, there is a lot going on. There's a lot going on in 5th grade. But something happened to me that was pretty traumatizing, if you will, so to speak. You know, it was pretty crazy. Now, I was a brown boy. I am a brown boy, brown man. Sounds weird saying that way. Among many of my white classmates. And we did this thing called fire drills. And fire drills are a lot of fun because you get a chance to go into the playground. We all love getting out of the classroom. But so we would do this, you know, single file line. We'd line up at the classroom. Teacher would count us up, et cetera, et cetera. But something that we did that was a little different, we also would do it on an emergency that happened on the bus. So on the bus, what would we do if there was an emergency? So we had to walk off the bus in a single file line. Now, if you're following, we get around this bus, and I shared earlier that I was the only brown boy in my class among the many white students, and so there's this kid named Todd. Todd. I remember Todd. If you're a Todd here, I'm sorry, but this Todd will be embedded in my memory. Todd chose to make a joke. So again, we're going out of the bus, single file line. Every one of my white classmates get off, and I get off in between that line, and Todd says in front of all my class, "Hey, look, John got burned." Yeah. Everyone laughed. Everyone thought it was hilarious, except for the recipient. I was shook. Because who wants to be laughed at in 5th grade? Who wants to be laughed at or made fun of where the whole class is yelling at you? So what do you do with your Todd? Who's the Todd in your life, or who is the Mod in your life? Who is that person who's done something harmful to you, and how do you deal with it? And how do you going about forgiving that person who's done something wrong to you? So that's what we're going to talk about. See, we have these moments where you're the joke of the day. We have these times where we may be going through life and someone makes fun of us. What do you do, and what is God doing with that? What is your response? Are you dealing with it or not? Is it an unresolved issue or pain in your life that you're not dealing with? So here's my first point. Unresolved pain surfaces in unhealthy ways and impacts current relationships. So life on the other side of you, how you are responding to others. Are you suspicious? Do you judge? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you a fighter as a result of this unresolved pain? Things going on in your life, what are you doing that? Have you ever thought a moment where like, why am I snapping? Why am I so upset about the situation? Where'd that come from? How are you dealing with this pain? How are you doing it? So we can conclude a variety of different ways, can't we? We could conclude, like I could have said from my 5th grade experience, that all kids or boys that have freckles and brown hair, they are bad. Or I could go to the point where I could say where all 5th graders are bad. Or I could say, dare I be more vulnerable, I could say, are all white people bad because of what I experienced in 5th grade. See, if I don't resolve that pain, if I don't deal with that shortcoming, it impacts my relationships. I become suspicious. So again, who is your Todd? Or who is your Maud? Who is that person in your life you're thinking about? Because it's amazing what we do when we come from that place of hurt, where we deal with those things in our lives that are painful and hard to process. So I want to take you on a journey. I'd like for us to look at a historical event that happened in John chapter 5, beginning in verse 2. Turn to your Bibles there. I love this situation because there's so much we could glean from this event. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool which is Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in his condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" Do you want to get well? I love me some Jesus because he gets right to the point. He doesn't talk about the symptom. He doesn't talk about the thing that's going on that's right there in front. He goes beyond the pain. He goes beyond the infliction and goes right to the source. Isn't it interesting how we so often want to deal with the symptoms but never go to the cause? Jesus goes right to it. And it's not like Jesus doesn't see the pain. He sees beyond the pain. He sees you. He sees me. And he asks, do you want to get well? It's amazing about when we're confronted with that conversation, what it does to us. So what are some of your responses that you have? You know, what are some things that you may say, well, I moved on. You know, it's their loss. We have those kind of responses like, it doesn't bother me. I'm strong. I'm an oak. They don't hurt me at all. We say those kind of things, right? But I go further and say, you know what, that you may not be being honest with yourself because you are human. You are a human being. You have real feelings, and these things do hurt. And you kind of go through these things where because of your response, people around you, going back to the other side of you, people watch you and how you react. And it gets kind of out of hand because you could be exhausting. Let me say it that way. People around you saying like, Mom, Dad, is always complaining about someone who's done something to them, and it's exhausting. And you're always grumpy, you're always moody, and you're always snapping because you have not dealt with something that is going on in your life. That unresolved pain is maybe your response, and you're not being honest with yourself. Another response could be the Christian responses, right? Well, all things work to God's glory. All things work for good, which is true. Well, I am a Christian, so I am called to forgive, which is true. But go to the point to where are you dealing with that pain? Are you dealing with it? Are you making excuses? You know, so often we do these things and we find ourselves having responses and sayings and things that aren't necessarily help us deal with the pain. Think deeper about your Todd. Think deeper about something that's going on in your life, that someone who has hurt you or done something wrong to you. I want to give you a test, because as it relates to forgiving someone, don't answer out loud or don't answer for someone else. I want you to think through this as you think of that person who you may be experiencing a lack of forgiveness towards. Number one, have you stopped hoping that that person you need forgiveness? Have you stopped hoping that they will get what they deserve? Have you stopped talking about them to others? Have you stopped frequently thinking about them and what they did? Have you stopped repaying your revenge? Have you stopped replaying your revenge? Have you find yourself in a situation where are you glad when something good happens to them? Are you more open and trusting towards others? Are you no longer angry, depressed, or bitter? Have you stopped blaming them for the outcome of your life? Do you stop to feel sorry for them when something bad happens to them? And then last question, you had enough. Are you more at peace and comfortable with your feelings? Do you want to get well? Now, if you answer no to any two or more of those questions, there's some work in the forgiveness area that you need to deal with. And this is where it comes. And so we look at the life on the other side of you. Not only are you maybe exhausting to others, aren't you exhausted by being upset all the time? Aren't you exhausted about being bitter all the time? Aren't you exhausted about being resentful all of the time? Aren't you exhausted by always being upset about something that was done to you in 5th grade? There are things that go on in life that happen, and we could go through this and we could begin to go back and begin to keep score. I can't believe they said that to me. I don't like the way they looked at me. I don't like what they said about me. I don't like how they made me feel. I don't like what they posted about me. I don't like that person. I don't like. And you're keeping score. You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one podcast I came across stopped me dead in my tracks, and it's by Rainn Wilson, a.k.a. Dwight Schrute from The Office. He has a podcast called Soul Boom, and he had as a guest somebody who was incredible, Father Greg Boyle. Father Greg Boyle is founder of Homeboy Industries in East LA. He works with inner city gang members in East LA, and is incredible. He is no joke. He's wrote a book called Tattoos on the Heart. He is a pistol. And if you read his book, it will shake you to your core about what he's doing in East LA. And I love what he said on this interview, because he said a phrase that stopped me dead in my tracks. It was like, he said, "I believe all people are unshakably good." Unshakably good. And I was like, no, there are some jacked up people in this world. What do you mean unshakably good? There is some evil up in this place. What do you mean unshakably good? And it's like the podcast heard what I said, but he goes on in this interview on this show, and he goes on and just says, like, do you believe, because it raises the issue for me. For 40 years, look what it says. I've worked with gang members, and I've never met anybody evil ever. Now, here's the clincher. I've met traumatized, mentally ill, despondent, damaged, and broken. Whoa. He sees beyond the symptom and sees the source. He sees beyond the pain and sees the person. See, it's so easy, right? Church family, it's so easy to villainize others, right? It's so easy to say that person is evil. Maybe you have a dartboard in your bedroom, you throw darts at it, whatever it is, they're just that person. It's so easy to villainize them. But if you thought and paused for a moment, if there's a villain in your story, have you considered that you may be a villain in someone else's story? Yeah, you're capable. Could you be a villain in someone else's story? Could you have done something that you may not be aware of, or maybe you were aware of? You could be a villain in someone else's story. It's like you kind of have these things where it's forgiveness reluctance, if you will, where it's like you ration your forgiveness, like you have a wallet full of forgiveness currency, and like, well, I got a little bit of forgiveness for you, but if I give you too much, I got to get this. Are you trying to ration your forgiveness? Are you trying to like, hey, I can't? And Jesus calls us to forgive over and over and over again. See, we need to understand this, that forgiveness is for all, but we could be a villain in someone else's story as well. Now look on in verse 7 of chapter 5 of the Gospel of John. Sir, the invalid replied, I have no one to help me into the pool. When the water is stirred while I am trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. You see what happens? He goes from being a villainized to now being the victim. From villainizing others, now being the victim. Now going to the point where we're looking at, well, I'm experiencing this pain and others are getting this. I'm in pain and I can't get, you got all these things that make you the victim. See, we have a complicated relationship with pain, don't we? Because so often we can look at our pain. Nobody wants pain. Nobody wants to experience pain, but pain is part of life. And let me challenge you with something that as you think about painful moments in your life, think about it like this. It's not so much what is happened to you, but what's happening for you. What's happening to you or what's happening for you. Think about your pain as what's happening for you. A hot stove. You touch a hot stove. Ow! Now, you have something that you could learn. There's something for you. Don't touch the hot stove. Or you could hit the stove as if it did that to you. Not what's happening to you, what's happening for you. Your pain, what can you learn? What do you need to learn? What is for you? What is something that you need to discover? Now, you go in these things and you go and look at all of this stuff of all the different things that you are experiencing. There's opportunities for you to grow. And so you look at this and you say, well, here's an example of being a victim. Well, Pastor, I get it, I hear it, I see it in the Bible, but you don't know my fill in the blank. You don't know how bad my fill in the blank. And you begin to make excuses. Other people are getting in front of me. You don't understand. I want to. Now, before you at me or email me, I want to say a statement with all encouragement and empathy, a sprinkle of empathy and love. As one of your pastors here, I want to challenge you. You're in danger of making yourself a prisoner of your past and missing what Jesus could do for your future. He wants something for you. And don't be a prisoner of your past. Don't go on keeping score of things done to you in the past. You may not be paralyzed physically, but you're paralyzed emotionally. You're caught in something that you can't get out of. And there's something they could do, that person who hurt you, or something they should do, but in most cases they won't because they can't, because maybe they're gone. Being made fun of is awful. It's awful. Being made fun of is awful. I didn't like it. I didn't like my whole class laughing at me. And it's just awful to think about these kind of things, but we all have our ties of someone who's done something wrong to us, and we all been a recipient of something that's been wrong to us. But imagine this man's perspective. He's an invalid, he's crippled, he's looking up at most people, all the glances and all the eyes and all the things that were looked and glazed upon him. He had that kind of thing in his life where he was not noticed, he was overlooked. Everything and all his pain was on full display. But look what Jesus did. Look at verse 8. Then Jesus said to him, get up, pick up your mat and walk. At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was a Sabbath. 38 years. 38 years, which is 330,100 hours. And 13,879 days. This man, this invalid was on pain. This invalid was going through a situation and now he is healed. And Jesus being Jesus began to say, get up from your mat. Now, our response is a 3D response so often when we're overlooked or we're going through a tough time or we're experiencing things that are painful. A 3D response, we have 3 Ds that we do: demonize, demean, or dehumanize. You begin to stuff like that person. they're my enemy. What they did. And you don't look at them as a human being, you look at them as not human. You begin to say, they're so evil. And we go through and we go on and on. We make a meme of them. We make posts about them. We make sure all our friends know how upset we are with that person. But the problem with all this, the problem with this maneuver is we don't heal. We don't heal. Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? See, I like what Lisa Turku said in Forgiving What You Can't Forget. She says this, we can only heal what we're willing to acknowledge is real. We can only heal what we're willing to acknowledge is real. See, when Todd gets all of our focus, when Todd gets all our emotional, psychological, when Todd gets all our relational real estate, this is what happens. It's our only focus. See, when we focus on the things we've had experience in our pain in our past, we don't focus on God's healing power. When we focus on all those things that are painful, we're not focusing on God's healing power. When you focus on all the hurts and the things said to us, we're not focusing on God's healing power. We're not focusing on God. A relationship with God is reciprocal and it's transformational. It's working. It's a relationship that only He can do in our lives. Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? So instead of villainizing people, instead of being the victim, answer the question, do you want to get well? See, there's a danger of living a life just waiting to be offended. It's like you're walking around with a chip on your shoulder waiting to be offended. I love what Brant Hansen said in his book, Unoffendable. He says this, holding on to an offense never hurts your offender. It only lets them keep hurting you. Saying stuff like, well, I'll show them. I'll just be mad at them all day long. You ain't doing nothing to them. They're probably not even thinking about you. But when you focus on them, your focus is misplaced. Focus on Jesus and walking with Him. Your healing isn't dependent on others. It's between you and Jesus. So get up and let go. And I'm looking at so many different things and I'm wondering what if this? Well, what if this, if is when you say, well, I'll forgive them if they fill in the blank. I'll forgive them if they apologize. I'll forgive them if, and you have all these conditions that have on. Forgiveness involves personal healing and trusting in God. I'm reminded of several verses about forgiveness, but here's a few that come to mind. Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. I love what John Dewey, he's a part of this campus here in Gilbert, that I love what he said. He's a volunteer in our men's ministry. He's been through AA and Teen Challenge and Celebrate Recovery. And he says this about it. Most of you who've been through this know this to be true. Those who have been forgiven much, love much. I love that. When you feel forgiven and you have experienced forgiveness, you will love better and you'll forgive better. You forgive easily. Colossians 3:13 says this, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. We are all in this together. I know our culture tells us if our enemies and people who don't look like us and don't talk like us and don't appear like us are gone, then it'll be good. Well, they ain't going nowhere. That person you want to get rid of, they're not going nowhere. We're all in this together, and we're called to forgive one another. It's like Jesus knows what a lack of forgiveness does. It damages us, and it can isolate us. So looking at some of your facial expressions is very interesting right now because you have like an error message. It's like, no, I can't do this. Why did I come to church today? Why am I watching this today? I didn't want to hear this about how I need to forgive. It's really hard. It's very different. But let me ask you this. Do you think God wants you to be grumpy? Do you think God wants you to be vengeful? Do you think God's design for you is to be angry, suspicious, hateful? The answer to the question is obvious. He does not desire that for your life. He wants you to have victory. He wants you to have overcome. He wants you to get up and take up your mat and walk. He doesn't want you to be cynical. He doesn't want you to be in pain. Taking up much space and allowing so much space that should be for love and for his purpose. Remember those questions I asked earlier? All those things that we have, there's some work to be done if you answer no to one or more of those questions. Now, here's something too. Forgiveness is not to be confused with forgetting. Forgiveness is not to be confused with forgetting. These are some actions that you could take that I want to share with you, but I don't want you to confuse. I love what Pastor Rich Valletta said, pastor of New Life Fellowship Church. He shared what forgiveness doesn't mean. He said this: forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what someone has done. Forgiveness doesn't mean there are no consequences to what others have done. Forgiveness doesn't mean we no longer feel grief. Forgiveness doesn't mean there will be always reconciliation of relationship. Forgiveness doesn't mean things will be like before. Sometimes they don't say sorry. Sometimes the ending is not like your favorite movie or song. Sometimes there's not a nice little bow at the end or a happy ending. There may not be something, there may not ever be made right again, but you're still called to forgive. Remember, it's not what's happening to me, but what's happening for me. Now I would love to tell you that Todd became the best man in my wedding. Nah. He didn't. And now I never know what happened to Todd. I had Todd for another year, but I found out later that Todd was not right. That Todd, when he was in first grade, second grade, and third grade, and fourth grade, was bullied. Yeah. Hurt people hurt people. There are things going on in Todd's life that made him the way he was. But Todd was unshakably good. Your Todd is unshakably good. They are a child of God. Regardless of what they've done to you, they are still a child of God. They are unshakably good. We have these Todds in our life for a reason, but we choose not to focus on them. We focus on who God is. We focus on what God has done. Focus on him, and I have forgiven Todd. And I don't know if I ever meet Todd again. If I do, I don't. I know what I was called to do was called to forgive. Because these things are so important. Now, as you think through your Todd and your Mod, I want you to hear this poem or see this poem by social activist Langston Hughes. He wrote this poem I think really captures what we're struggling with right now. I am so tired of waiting, aren't you, for the world to become good and beautiful and kind. Let us take a knife and cut the world in two and see what worms are eating at the rind. What is the deeper issue? What is going on that's beneath the thing? What is happening that we need to understand that is helping us navigate this world, this time in which we're struggling with this tension? Let me say it differently. Are you so focused on what someone has done to you that you're missing what Jesus wants to do for you? Are you so focused on what's been done to you, or are you focused on what Jesus has done, is going to do for you? This is something that would change the world. This is something that would make a huge difference in all of our relationships on the other side of you. So last week we talked about communication. Today we're talking about forgiveness. And then next we're going to talk about conflict. There's a pattern here as it relates to how we interact with others. So here are some practical steps for us as we think through how to forgive. Number one, acknowledge the hurt done to you. You are not an oak. Newsflash. You're human. In the Frozen movie, the great theologian Elsa once said, let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go. Don't hold on to it. So acknowledge the hurt, let it go. Forgive yourself is a third thing. Forgive yourself. You have been forgiven. You have been forgiven. Don't beat yourself up. So often we can be more critical of ourselves. We don't like ourselves, but forgive yourself wherever you have done. You have been forgiven. Fourthly, surround yourself. Life is better together. Life is better together. Surround yourself with people who are going to make you a better version of yourself. Surround people who are going to lift you up and be supportive of you, who are going to call you out when you need to be called out, but also help you up when you need to have help. Life is better together. Surround yourself. And then lastly, learn and grow. Learn and grow. Get resources. Understand your hurts, hang-ups, and hallelujahs. Your hurts and hang-ups and your habits and things that you going on that you didn't understand, like, hey, this is what excites me and this is what brings me down. This is the habit I need to break and these are the things I need to do differently. Get some resources. Hey, this is what fills me up and this is what tears me down. So if you've been paying attention, 'tis the season now, right? You're going to go into some family gatherings in the next several months and you're going to have a lot of forgiveness opportunities. You're going to have all kinds of moments which you're going to have to express these things. And so understand that at some point, I promise you this, I don't mean to depress you, but at some point you are going to feel demeaned or dismissed or disregarded. And here's a little further, and you may do it to someone else. But learning how to deal with this, learning how to understand what you were called into when it regards to forgiveness is so important. So when we think about these things, stop clicking. Stop keeping score. Stop keeping track of all the things done wrong to you. Let it go. So many different things you have. Do you want to get well? There's something beautiful about forgiveness because it's love. Something beautiful about forgiveness because it restores. Our world so desperately needs forgiveness. And it's so many opportunities to do just that. You know, I think about love and I think about the support that I have personally received just this last week. And what I mean is this, is like many of you are aware, many of you may not be aware, but I lost my sister last week. It was a rough time. It still is a rough time for us. And my wife and I, Cassandra, we have been blown away by the amount of support we received, not only from this campus, but those are from other campuses as well. It's been so encouraging to experience this love and the support with all the posts and the cards and the encouragement. All kinds of things have been given. That's what love looks like, and it is beautiful. And forgiveness is beautiful. And what an incredible moment we have to express love to one another. All these things are very important to forgive. And love, by the way, maybe you've seen, love beyond is something we're all about. To love beyond our differences. I love what Dr. Martin Luther King said regarding love and forgiveness. He says this, we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power of love. We're called to love. We're called to love beyond. We're called to love because we have been forgiven. And what an excellent way for us to transition to what we're going to do right now as we enter into this time we call communion. Communion is a time for us to remember what Jesus Christ has done for us and showing us just how much we are forgiven. We want to allow you a time, and those of you watching online, is to gather these emblems. We want to allow you some space to take communion and think through what this forgiveness looks like in your own life. It says in Ephesians 1:7, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses, according to the riches of his grace. This is because of what Jesus Christ has done for us. Because of his death, his burial, and his resurrection, we are forgiven. Todd is forgiven. You are forgiven. Let's take a moment now to remember what Jesus has done for us and reflect and give thanks to who he is and what he calls us into. Let's do that now.
Caught up in your presence, I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Jesus, you don't owe me anything, and more than anything that you can do, I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I judge another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Oh, I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessing. Jesus, you don't owe me anything, or more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you, and nothing else, and nothing else, nothing else would do. I just want you, and nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you, and nothing else, and nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you, and nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you, and nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you, nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I'm caught up in your presence, but I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave, never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Oh, Jesus, you don't owe me anything, more than anything that you can do. I just want you.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, this is a holy moment. Lord, this is a moment in which you call us into experience a life that you intended. Lord, may we be people who forgive because we are forgiven. May we be people who love because we are loved. We thank you, Lord, for your death, your burial, and the resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ. And what testament it is, Lord, to the amazing opportunity we have to love you and to love others and to forgive you for what wonderful things you have done in our lives. Those people in our lives, Lord, that we struggle with, that are challenged by, we thank you for them. We really do, because it allows us to trust you more. We praise your holy, precious name, and all of God's children said,